Welcome back to another episode of Jikoni Magic's Meza. On today's menu is egg stew, quite popular in Kenya. In my previous videos of ugali and sukuma wiki, I promised to share with you this recipe, so let's dive into it and start cooking. I've already preheated 2 tablespoons of sunflower oil in my cast iron skillet, and to that I add 1 medium-sized onion that is finely diced. I cooked it for about a minute because I did not want any color developing on the onions. But as usual, if you love color in your onions, by all means go ahead and cook them for slightly longer. To that, add 1 tablespoon of curry powder. I prefer to add it at this point so that I can cook off its raw taste and aroma. This takes only a minute or so. Next, add 1 teaspoon of ginger and garlic that are finely diced. Give them about a minute to release their natural aromas and then add 1 cup of pureed tomatoes. I prefer to puree my tomatoes in this recipe because for some reason I can't stand to see the tomato skins in my egg stew. If you don't mind the tomato skins, then just chop them up into small pieces using your knife, or if you do not have a blender, then you can always grate them. Next, add 3/4 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper to the tomatoes along with enough salt to taste. Stir to make sure that everything is well mixed. Reduce the heat to low, cover, and leave to simmer for about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, crack 3 eggs in a bowl and beat them just enough to ensure that the yolks break and are well mixed in. Just like that, and that's enough. So here we are after about 4 minutes or so of the tomatoes simmering, and they have reduced slightly. At this point, I add green bell peppers or hoho to the mixture. They are totally optional, so leave them out if they are not your thing. Cover and leave to simmer for about a minute for the hohos to warm up and just start softening. I do not want to cook them completely at this point. So now the mixture had reduced down beautifully and I was ready to add the beaten eggs. Pour them in all at once. Remember that the heat is on low at this point because you want to cook the eggs slow and easy so that they do not burn. Right away, start incorporating them into the tomato mixture. Do this very gently, making sure that you scrape the bottom and the sides of the pan. From this point out, it will just be a matter of stirring the egg mixture after every 10 or so seconds to ensure that it does not burn at the bottom. Cook the stew to your preferred level of doneness. There are those who will serve them after just a minute of cooking, just as long as they warm through and start setting on the sides. Personally, I cannot stand wet eggs, never. So I cook mine until they are just dry, but not to the point where they are like small pebbles or ground nuts rolling off the pan. They are still able to hold together without being too wet or too dry. And to ensure that I do not take them too far in that they get to dry out too much, I normally turn off the heat just before they are totally dry. Just like they are right at this point, like you're seeing them. That way they will finish cooking from the residual heat of the pan. To round off the flavors, I add Dhania or coriander leaves and serve. Remember, I already turned off the heat earlier. And that's it. You can see the egg stew is still holding together without being on the wet side, just the way I love it. I served the egg stew with ugali and sukuma wiki. Please check out my 2 previous videos for these 2 recipes. Until next time, God willing, please keep it Jikoni Magic. Kwaherini ya kuonana.